Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Canal Days, What Life Was Like in the Industrial Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining us today is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. He personally offers and leads public and private tours, as well as presentations of historical sites within communities throughout the state of Massachusetts. Currently, the communities he has chosen to focus on this year are Holyoke, Chicopee, South Hadley, and East Hampton, as well as Granby and Amherst as well. His tours spotlight on the local canals, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks, streets, and selected historical houses within each community. In today's episode, we will be discussing the Mary Lyon. So who is Mary Lyon?
She is a pioneer in the field of female education. She started up various institutions, including the Wheaton Seminary and the Mount Holyoke Female Seminary, and she did this in 1837. She grew up in the area and was able to take on a very strong education for herself, and she wanted to have every woman have such an education available to them. And she was thus a very, very important person in the history of South Hadley, and we're going to mostly talk about her influence upon Holyoke College and South Hadley itself. She was a very religious person, raised a Baptist, but then became a Congregationalist. And sadly, in 1849, she died. She was buried on the campus of Holyoke College. So we're going to talk about her today and why she started up this seminary and where she's buried exactly and why did they bury her there. Okay, and mostly we're focusing on this because we're focusing mostly on South Hadley history. So this is a woman that really believed strongly in education. She would see a lot of seminaries around New England that were for men or boys only, and so she wanted to get one going for herself. Her first one was actually the Wheaton Seminary, right, and then her second one was Holyoke Seminary. And in the beginning, it was only basically high school education, so it was not a college one, even though nowadays, since about the 1890s, Mount Holyoke Seminary is a Mount Holyoke college education. And she really believed in the classics and a strong basis for education. So, for instance, she would have her students learn up to calculus and learn the Bible very well, learn English literature extremely well, so forth.
And why did she start the Mount Holyoke Seminary?
She wanted to have, in both sections of Massachusetts, a female cemetery for these students. And so she started one in eastern Massachusetts, in Wheaton, in Norton, Massachusetts. And then she started one in South Hadley, which was very close to a population center in western Massachusetts. It was very close to Amherst, Northampton, and Springfield. And South Hadley was a great place to start up a campus. Now, if you expect to go onto the campus of Holyoke College and see these old buildings, you'll be disappointed, because the oldest building there on the campus is from 1898, and all the rest are newer than that. And remember, her seminary started up in 1837. But those original buildings have gone away. Mostly they burnt down. So, Mary Lyon is incredibly important for education in general. After 1837, a lot of Catholic schools, when they started up in western and central Massachusetts, started up a girls' Catholic school first. That happened at St. Jerome's Church campus in Holyoke. It happened at the Holy Name Church campus in Chicopee. It happened in a location in Worcester. So by her starting her own up, then Catholic schools started up. And then colleges started to open up. For instance, Smith College opened up as the first Women's College of the United States in 1874 and then 5. So this started a movement, and so she's probably the number one most important person in this pioneer movement.
And really quick before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltours.org. And there you can find videos and podcasts of the stops on each of his tours, as well as photos and text of the historical sites throughout as well. And for other inquiries or for private tours, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And his tours make for fun, educational, outdoor activities for families and group parties. So getting back to our interview, where is Mary Lyon buried?
Okay, she's buried on the campus of Holyoke College, very close to what's called the amphitheater. And so when you look at her grave, there's a beautiful wrought iron fence around it, but you can see towards the east a beautiful amphitheater look that's sculpted out, and then you can see a hill beyond that. All right, and she has a gorgeous stone, and on it are her philosophical statements about education, so they're really nice to read to get to understand her better. Now, she died of a rare skin disease, probably because she was helping a student with this disease and she caught it herself. And she died on March 5th, 1849, only 12 years after starting up Holyoke College itself. And she's still buried there, and no matter what legend you hear, she was not taken by Wheaton College students back to Norton. She was not taken by the residents of her home place back there. And so she is truly buried in South Hadley, and still is.
And why did the seminary bury her here?
Okay, because she viewed this as her major work in the world. This is where she liked to devote most of her time in Mount Holyoke College compared to Wheaton. And she loved it so much, and she died on the campus itself, and so that's why it was placed here. She was actually buried very close to her classrooms, long gone, so it used to be very close to the educational building. Now it's not quite as close, but it's still very easy to find. You leave the library and take a right angle outwards about 100 yards, and you get out to her grave. And the grave is surrounded by grass, and then inside the area it's fenced off, but you can actually go in there and go around all the sides and read very carefully what's written there. So it's a beautiful place. It's almost a place that you want to have a pilgrimage to. And it's right across the street from the pioneer of South Hadley himself, John Preston, who was also buried in a single grave. So these two people are the only two people in South Hadley that have single graves to them, and their gravestones are still there, Mary Lyon and John Preston, both pioneers in what they did.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours and historical topics of your expertise. And we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And you can check out a large selection of other podcasts on his website, as well as on SoundCloud.com. And be sure to stay up to date with new videos and podcasts posted daily.